To be honest, most traders don't have a clue how to put a trading bot, or a Renko trading bot for that matter, together. They might start with a strategy, maybe an API, maybe a bit of backtesting, don't really know where they're going to end up in a total mess. Well, there is a structure, a process that you need to follow. 11 steps. If you do it in that order, then you should be able to build yourself a successful trading bot or a successful Renko trading bot. In this video, I'm going to show you that order. When most people say they want to build a trading bot, what they usually mean is they want to automate an idea. That is not the same thing. A real trading bot is not one script, one indicator, one alert, or one broker connection. It's a machine, and like any machine, it has layers. Each layer has a job, and each layer feeds the next. And if those parts are built in the wrong order, the whole thing becomes unstable. That is especially true with a Renko bot, because now you're not even working directly from raw candles, you're working from a transformed price structure, which means the integrity of the build matters even more. So let's go through the 11 real steps properly. The first step is planning, and this is the step most traders skip because it feels slow and it does not give them the buzz of writing code or looking at charts. But planning is where the whole thing starts. You need to know what the bot is actually supposed to do. What market is it for? What time frame or decision cycle is it working on? Is it going to help you analyze, generate alerts, paper trade, or place live trades? What's the risk budget? What are the boundaries? What counts as success or failure? A real bot is not just code. It is a trading process expressed in logic. So if you skip this and rush into code, you usually end up building fragments instead of a system. Step 2 is the Renko Engine. This is where a Renko bot truly becomes different from a standard chart-based bot. A Renko bot cannot rely on some vague visual chart on a platform and hope that what you see is what your code will trade. It needs its own internal Renko engine. That engine must decide how bricks are formed, how reversals are handled, how multi-brick moves are processed, and how block size is chosen, and when a brick is considered confirmed. That matters because every later layer depends on this output. If the brick engine is inconsistent, then your features are inconsistent. If your features are inconsistent, then your signals are inconsistent. And if your signals are inconsistent, the whole system is contaminated. Step 3 is the data layer. Bot is only as good as the data feeding it. That sounds obvious, but most traders still underestimate it. The job of the data layer is to take raw market data and turn it into a clean, standardized format that the rest of the bot can trust. That means consistent column names, clean timestamps, clear session handling, clear time zone treatment, missing data checks, ordering checks, and validation before the data is passed into the Renko engine. The point is not to wire up 10 different APIs just to feel sophisticated. The point is to create one stable input path, because once the schema is clean, the rest of the bot stops caring where the data comes from and starts caring whether it is usable. So that is exactly how the data layer is framed. One primary source first, one standardized schema, one validation layer, and one clean handoff into the Renko engine. So without this, the rest of the machine becomes API spaghetti. Then we have to build the feature layer. Bricks are structure, but they're not decisions. So now you need to turn those confirmed Renko bricks into analytical inputs that a strategy can actually use. And that is where things like moving averages, stochastic, ATR, trend context, momentum context start to matter. The reason this is its own layer is because features should be reusable building blocks. Your strategy should not have indicator calculations scattered all over it. That's messy, hard to test, and hard to maintain. So a proper feature layer gives you clean calculations, reusable functions, consistent outputs, and the ability to preserve snapshots of feature state, so later on you can explain why a signal happened. So the last part matters a lot. Good systems don't just say buy or sell, they can also say why, and that, like I said, makes it much stronger. Makes it properly built by separating, let's say, bricks, features, signals, and by storing feature snapshots for later explainability. Step 5 is the strategy and signal layer. That's where the bot stops being analytical and starts becoming directional. The feature layer tells you what's happening. The strategy layer decides what that means. So this is where you define entry, exit rules, invalidation logic, filters, and the signal objects that represent actual trade intent. And the separation here is critical because a strategy should generate decisions. It should not just send broker orders directly. It might sound like a small detail, but it's not, because it's one of the major differences between a proper architecture and a retail mesh. So once you separate analysis, decision, and action, the bot becomes easier to test, easier to compare, easier to audit, and easier to extend. So that structure, features in, signals out, with a reusable framework and a reference strategy rather than a pile of random hard-coded rules. Step 6 is the research and backtest layer. It's where you stop guessing. A strategy that looks good on a chart means very little. A strategy that sounds clever in a notebook means very little, and a backtest that ignores realism is often just a polished lie. So a serious bot needs research structure. That usually means two paths. First, a faster research path, so you can test ideas, parameters, and variations efficiently. And second, a more realistic event-driven path where signals flow through the system in a way that is closer to how the live bot would actually behave. And the second path matters because sequencing matters. In real systems, signals hit risk, risk hits execution, execution changes state, and outcomes depend on that order. So you also need clean trade logs, readable result summaries, and sensible metrics. A bot without research discipline basically is just optimism, with a keyboard. Step 7 is the risk and position sizing layer. This is where the bot learns restraint. A trading signal is not permission to trade, it is a request. The risk layer decides whether that request is allowed, blocked, or resized. That means, this layer might handle things like risk per trade, stop aware sizing, daily loss limits, drawdown rules, exposure caps, and veto logic, and is exactly why risk needs its own place in the build order. It sits after the strategy layer because it's not inventing ideas, and it sits before execution because execution should only act on approved decisions. So that separation gives the bot discipline. It stops the machine behaving like an overexcited lunatic. Most bad bots do not fail because they can't find entries. They fail because they cannot control themselves, and so this is why that this layer matters so much. Step 8 is all about execution. So this is where the bot starts acting in the real world, and is where a lot of people become reckless. You jump from signals straight into live broker routing, even though you not yet have a proper state handling, proper safety controls, or a realistic order model. That's very backwards. A proper execution layer starts with controlled execution first. And what does that mean? Well, that means paper orders, fill logic, position tracking, simulated P&L, explicit order states, and a clear life cycle from submit to fill, reject, cancel, or reconcile. You also need safety, disconnect handling, feed failure response, daily loss kill switches, pause states, and controls for when the system should not act. Execution is not a button press, it is a controlled action. Step 9 is the dashboard. This is where the machine becomes visible to the human user, and this should not be confused with building some flashy interface for screenshots. Serious dashboard is an operational control surface. It should show things like system status, Renko brick state, signal feed, positions, P&L, risk state, and trade logs. But more than that, a good dashboard should help answer two questions: what happened and why did it happen? That means explainability matters. Feature snapshots, signal, reasoning, and risk verdicts all become important here. Without visibility, you have built a black box, and black boxes are hard to trust, hard to debug, and dangerous to operate. Step 10 is operations. This is one of the least glamorous parts of the bot build, which is exactly why so many people completely ignore it. But if you want the system to behave like a real product, you need operations. So this layer handles system logs, trade logs, error logs, event logs, persistent state, restart logic, daily reports, deployment thinking, and version control. So why does it matter? Because real systems do not live in a perfect world. They stop, they restart, feeds fail, processes hang, humans make mistakes, config drifts. If your bot can't preserve state, recover safely, and tell you what happened, it's not a durable bot. It's just code that happened to run once. Step 11 is the final assembly. That's the payoff of all the other layers. Up to this point, you've built the parts. Now you prove they belong in one coherent machine. So that means choosing the final architecture path, locking in config, wiring the layers together, verifying each handoff, running the full pipeline, and validating that the bot behaves like one complete system. And this is where you discover whether the earlier work was properly understood or whether you were just collecting fragments. Because if the build order has been respected, this stage feels just like assembly. If not, this is where incompatibles, hidden assumptions, and broken interfaces show up. And that really is the real difference between, I've got some code and I've built a bot. So those 11 steps really are the real picture. A successful Renko trading bot, or any other trading bot for that matter, is not one strategy idea. It's not one alert. It's not one script. It's not one indicator. It's a layered machine built in the right order. And that's exactly why I've structured my products the way I have, and they're available to you if you want to build Renko bots properly. You're going to need the coding foundations first, and that starts with the Mastering Python for Trading e-course. If you already have enough Python and want to build the full advanced Renko machine layer by layer, that is exactly what my Renko Bot Build e-course is for as well. And if you want the full route from trader to system builder, it's available for you now. Take the bundle. The Renko bot is £199 until the end of the 31st March, and it goes back to £399. And the bundle, that's the Mastering Python for Trading and the Renko Bot Build course, is £399 until the end of the 31st March. Then it goes back to £698. And all the links that you need to explore that further, and if you want to sign up, are all in the description below this video. So there you go. I think they're the 11 steps you need to put together in the right sequence to build yourself a successful trading bot, or for that matter, a Renko trading bot, which is my cup of tea. Let me know in the comments below, how you structure together your trading bots if you build them, and let me know what you think of my 11-step process. And don't also forget, if you want to build like I do, you want to build your own Renko bot, or you want to start from the beginning, get to that sort of level, we've got the Mastering Python for Trading course and the Renko Bot Build course. Check the links in the description below if you want to learn more and sign up to those. If you've liked today's video, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification buttons, because there's plenty more content coming your way. We'd love to have you on board the channel. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.